I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but did you ever wonder why this simple Kodak box camera that was introduced in the year 1900 was able to span 3 decades and was used by different generations of people over that period of time? Well, in the year 1900, when it was first introduced, this was just such a simple point and shoot kind of camera, and it was affordable. It was sold for $1. It sold a lot of units during the first decade, and it survived the period of wartime when World War I started in 1914. This became a way for family to connect with one another. When soldiers went off to war and families were at home, they were able to exchange photographs back and forth, and it was a way of keeping in touch. So it played a very important role during that period of time. And then, after the war ended in 1918, we're going into the 1920s. It was called the Roaring Twenties. Things became much more prosperous for many people. They were able to afford cars. They went to musical performances, jazz concerts, all sorts of things that they weren't able to do before that. And again, this camera was simple to use. It didn't require an understanding of technology. There were more sophisticated cameras that came out, but this was a camera of choice by so many people during that period of time. And then, after the 1920s, we got into the Great Depression, and financially it was difficult for a lot of people, but this camera was still popular then because it was inexpensive, and even if you couldn't afford one of these cameras, usually a family member or friend had one that you could borrow, and you could still continue to record family memories and events that happened. So it was a way of giving people hope through all these times, recording people's memories. And so it was really much more than just a camera that took photos. It played a very important role through 3 decades of use. And, I'd be interested in hearing from anyone out there that if your parents or grandparents had a camera like this, were there pictures that were taken from 1900 through to the 1930s that you have? And are there any stories that you have that you can tell me about in the comments?